I
Hi,
know.
everyone.
Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
Kathy.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We're back.
We're so excited to be back.
I know. So I know people are wondering, I don't understand what's happening here. It's Catherine, Naomi. Where's Rochelle? Don't worry, she's on her
She's
way.
on her way.
Rochelle has to, fix up and stuff. It's the first episode of the new year, so let's just give her a little second. But Kathy and I are here. So, hello, 2021, and welcome to the third season. Can't believe we're at the third season already. The third
Wow.
season of Emerge Detour Essentials live right here, streaming from our YouTube channel at Ready to Emerge and on our Facebook page. So we're so super excited to be back. We have a lot in store. I mean, for the last two seasons, we had about 25 episodes with some amazing individuals, and we are beyond excited about what we have in store for season 3 of Emerge Detour Essentials Live. So, for those joining for the first time, and welcome back to our emergers. And for the new emergers tonight, we just wanted to remind you that we are here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on YouTube. And we are also streaming from our Facebook channel. You can always follow us on Instagram at Ready to Emerge to find out what's coming next, who's going to be featured on our Ready to Emerge Detour Essentials Live, and just follow us to see what's happening and updates on what's going on within the Emerge trio. So thanks again for joining us. We're looking forward to an exciting first episode. We have a really special guest, which we'll tell you about in a little bit. I'm wondering, Kathy, first, since Rochelle's not here yet, should we go into our introductions or do we want to talk about what's happening right now?
Well, there's so much happening. First of all, we want to send our condolences to the Stewart family and also to everybody that works for the Jamaica Observer, Sandals, the ATL group, because, of course, by now everybody should know their chairman has passed. So we send our condolences and, we're praying for your comfort. And, of course, to Senator Janice Allen, who is a part of the Emerge family. That one really, really touched us deeply. So, Jan, we're here, we're praying for you, and we're wishing you and your family all the best. Janice lost her father, Mr. Glover Allen, and so our prayers are going out to the Allen family. And then, of course, there's a craziness that's happening in Washington, D.C.,
That's still
and
happening as
that's
we
still
speak.
happening as we speak. So we are also praying for the family of the lady that has passed, that got shot, and for anybody that has gotten injured. And we pray for good sense, that good sense will prevail in all of the chaos, and that there will be restoration for the United States this year and for the whole world, because I mean, 2020 was chaos for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And so we're praying for a year of restoration for sure, for the states and for everybody that has gone through turmoil in 2020.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, 2020 has been an interesting year. There's been some really challenging times, but I think it also was a year that gave a lot of people the opportunity to really connect, to connect with the things that actually really matter, to spend time with the people that matter.
Absolutely.
As trying as that can be sometimes, because we're back to online learning that started today.
Yeah.
Yay! um, but I think what 2020 helped us to do was to put things into perspective. A lot of people
Certainly.
excited about this Vision 2020, a year of focus, 2020 vision. And it may not have been the vision that we anticipated, but I definitely still think it gave us that focus that was
Absolutely.
needed.
Clarity. Yep.
Clarity.
Certainly clarity. And of course, we know that there is no way that we could start 2021 without emerging with our emergers and, taking the time to do something special for the people that have been with us. And so we're super excited to announce that Sagicor has partnered with us to do our first workshop on January 23rd. And it's going to be reclaiming our 2020 and emerging into 2021.
Yes.
So it's going to be on Saturday, the 23rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And of course, it's going to be online. And so you can fill out the job form It's gonna be free to you guys, courtesy of Sagicor.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that's the best
Sagicor.
part, guys. I mean,
Yeah,
yes, it's awesome that we're doing this workshop, but it's free to
yeah.
all the participants.
So you just need to fill out the job form online to reserve your space, and we'll send you the information of how you can participate. So you can go to any of our pages, or Instagram page or Facebook, and you'll see the link. Just click on the link and fill out the information, and then you'll receive an email with the link to join the workshop.
And I
Because
think
let's face it, go
and
ahead, Nai.
I think Alexi created a cute little video to
Oh yes.
show that. Alexi, if you're hearing us, I think now would be a great time to play that little video clip that you created. Or maybe Kathy.
Not Kathy.
Kathy?
Guess
Okay.
who is here?
Ooh. Hi, Rush.
Hi, girls.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Rashi. Believe it or not, guys.
Oh,
Here goes our
wait,
video.
our video.
So, January 23rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Just look for the form on our Facebook or Instagram pages and sign up to register for the workshop. Rashi, oh my gosh, guys, it's the first time I'm actually seeing you guys for the new year.
That's true, and that's bad. Is
Yeah.
it? Yeah, I feel away.
Yeah, I feel like
Lady, must feel away.
Guys, I'm with the times,
I don't know who bust your pants spice, but okay.
No, but Kathy, evidently you're with my sister Gabrielle. Your fashion is turned up today. What's going on?
Rush, I didn't want to load up Catherine, when we went live, but I surely did mention it behind
Wow.
the scenes about the fact that, I was like,
mean-
wow, Kathy.
I want you to know that I dressed myself today for your information.
That's
Foreign must agree with me. Foreign agree with me.
It's a new year, right? It's a new year for new things, new experiences. We're
Plus,
here
you
for
know,
it.
she would
We're
have
here
made
for
me
it.
change. She would have made me change if I didn't, sort out.
Yeah, you look good. You look good. You look
Thank
good.
you.
You look
Thank
good.
you.
You're out of stunting. I like it.
Plus, after 2 weeks in quarantine, I had to do something to feel good to see people today.
Yeah, you look like a movie star.
Thanks.
You have to do the hair flip. Rochelle, are you sitting in your new office?
Me? Why, yes, Nye. I am.
So we should go straight into the introductions.
Yeah, now would be a great time. Okay,
Hi,
I'm gonna be very short.
Hi, Jenny. Hi, Anne. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Kimberly.
Rochelle.
I know.
Okay, guys. So welcome again for those just joining us to season 3 of Emerge Detour Essentials Live. We're here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And every week we have a new and exciting guest or guests that share a little bit about their journey as we go through an emerging conversation with them that we hope will impact and inspire and spurge some action. So, guys, we're going to do our quick little introduction. This is the Emerge Trio, myself, Catherine, and Rochelle. I'm Naomi Garrick, also known as a PR chick. I'm a personal branding coach, PR consultant, author, and speaker. And I really help individuals to get clarity on who they are, or really individuals and brands to stand out in a noisy world.
Hi, everybody. I am Kathy Goodall. Happy New Year. I am a connector of brands, businesses, and people. And I'm a part of the Emerge Trio. Welcome. I'm so happy to be back.
Rochelle, you know it's your turn.
Should I start in song? So, guys, I would just tell Cameron how to be alive to see 2021. I'm not stepping cautiously, I'm stepping faithfully into 2021. Looking forward to being able to continue what we do with the Emerge Trio. I'm just so happy to see everybody on. There's some days I law as a lawyer. There are other days that I maybe should just be like a stand-up comedian. I don't take myself too seriously. 2020 has certainly taught me that this one life that we got, let's just live it. Let's
Yes,
just live
yes.
it. So that's my introduction.
I think we're all here for that. And I
Yeah.
think on that note, what I would love to ask you guys, I know you would know probably by now that every year I like to not just set intentions, but I like to set an intention for the year. And I choose a word that should really summarize the year that I would like to have. So for this year, my year is the year of possibility, that all things are possible, and to be open to new experiences, to try new things, to not be afraid of failing, and to just welcome this possibility that's in abundance into this year of 2021.
Nice.
So I'd love to hear from you guys. What would your year be? Or what would you like your year to be? And I'd also love to see in the comments, for those that are watching, to share with us, what is this year going to be for you? It's the year of what?
So I think for me, since Rashi is muted, it will be manifestation. You know, just everything that the clarity that I got in 2020 for 2021 to be the year of execution, for things to just manifest.
Love it. Year of manifestation. Rush?
So now, honestly, when I saw that we were going to say what the year was, and I was trying to get like super deep, like real deep with what my year is going to be. You know what 2020 taught me? It was a turning point for just everything in my life. And I'm stepping, I said, faithfully, knowing that all will be well. And this year, no matter what I face, I know at the end of the day, God has me and all will be well. So I feel like there's this open book, and I get an opportunity to, because you know the blueprint of your life is set, but I get an opportunity to just rewrite me and redefine me, and it's okay. And to recognize all the learnings that I had from 2020. So I only put in somebody fearful for do that. Me can do. So because I step faithfully, and it's my year again of rebirth, because you know I've been 27 for a long time, but not 25 again. I'm just doing it all over. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I see Tashara Lee Johnson. Tashara, I love that girl.
Hi, Tash.
Hi, Tash.
I see you.
So I see that Alicia has said this is going to be a year of possibilities for her. Girl of my own heart. Janelle says it's a year of boss moves. I love that. And for Tashara, it's to embrace. So guys, even as we go along, you know, don't be afraid to share what you think, you know, this year should be like for you. Loretta says a year of doing. I love that. And guys, what I want you to think about as well as you step into this new year, that it's okay if you don't get to achieve everything that you set out to do. I know it can be a very overwhelming time for some people, you know, as you start to, especially the year that we had in 2020, probably looking back at those goals that you set at the start of the year that maybe you didn't achieve any of them, or maybe achieved a few. And now starting over in 21 and realizing that some of those things weren't accomplished. And that's why one of the reasons we're doing this workshop is to really take a moment to reclaim that year, right? We still have an opportunity to reclaim that year, to look back at some of those goals that may not even be relevant right now in 2021 based on things that happened, and to step into 2021, to emerge into 2021 exactly the way that you need to be. So at the end of this live today, we'll talk a little bit more again about the workshop, but you'll be able to pre-register now. You can go on our Instagram page, click the link in our bio so that you can pre-register for this free virtual workshop.
Yes. Well, it's not free.
You're on fire this year. You sound intelligent, but flexible and relatable. I'm like, I want to be her friend.
So I don't normally sound intelligent. I just
hyper intelligent, like in 2021, higher level.
I cannot.
Let me tell you, I feel very relaxed and just at ease with who I am right now in this minute. And that's it,
Good.
right? So
And another thing, guys, that we just want to, as in this time of social media, it's very easy to get overwhelmed that other people seem to have all of their plans together. They like take a picture of their vision board, and you're like, I don't even know 2 things I want to put on my vision board. And it's fine. It's fine. There is no rush for you. And a big part of our workshop is to help to just fire you up, to pull out some of the things that you may not even understand are there. So even as you're thinking about the workshop, don't think, oh, but I have to have it all together and this is just helping me to put it down. In fact, don't come with it all together. Just come with an open mind and it will be fine, because that's what we are saying. All will be well with you and you will be fine. And this is about, we just want to plug in some things and to make you recognize the things that are there to be manifested. Yeah, man.
well, you know that vision board that we did at your house in 2019, I haven't updated my vision board since then. It's still the one that's on my wall till the point that there's zero dropout of the 2019 and everything, right? Because the reality is that vision boards are not, I don't think they're intended for a year, like just a set period of time. It's things that you're trying to achieve over time. And just to give you that reminder and to get your brain thinking and, remembering that this is my focus. These are the things that are important to me. And so again, just to reiterate what Rochelle said, don't get stressed out if you don't have it all together, right? Or if you didn't tick off one thing on the vision board last year, because I'm still carrying my 2019 vision board into 2020.
I'm actually framing. So I was going to frame.
Yeah, I think, as a matter of fact, I may look on the 2019 one and see if there are things I need to just add to it and just stick on in the spaces.
Update it.
Yeah, update that one. And that's okay.
So before we introduce our very special guest, we have to big up the reason that she is Uncle Mikey, Auntie Judy. Big up the great Mikey Bennett and Trudy Colton Bennett. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So Rochelle, over to you.
Over to you, because Rochelle is the master.
This one,
I don't even know how she's going to do this one because
there's
so much to say. I tried to do a shortened version and I was just like, I'm just going to put some stuff and Rochelle's just going to have to account.
Exactly. I'm doing some of it because so this one actually made me a little emotional because of who Kimala is to and for me. And I think if you have ever come in her presence, she is fire, but a fire that ignites something in you. You do not leave her presence the same way.
Yes.
More giving of herself. Like she sees possibility in everything. She sees possibility in you. The way she approaches business, the way she is fearless and bold in how she steps out.
And strategic.
And strategic without being diabolical.
Yes.
This is the woman that if you are describing a powerhouse, it's Kimala Bennett. And I remember initially when I hear about Kimala Bennett, because always stay as people. Sometimes when we see a girl and a girl cute and thing, we say, oh, they're not glad about that cute girl. That's all. Oh, she just is a heavyweight. And can you imagine that you're actually quite good looking and brilliant? I have done a lot of business with Kimala. I actually sit on the board of the lab, and it's one of the things that I am most proud of. This is a listed company, an agency that is listed, the first of its kind in the region to be listed, led by a powerhouse of a woman whose life is about possibility. She dreams in post-its. Like she just time, she stands back and sees where she is. But Kimala does not see things that are not possible. So you see blockades, you see what ifs, and Kimala she sees end game. Yeah. And she's like, when she's done with you, I saw you run go up the hill with her. She is mother to Liam, one of my children, and she's daughter. She is wife. She is also a business icon in the region, and she is, in my view, a worldwide name. The thing about Kimala, and I think why we needed to start with Kimala, is Kimala started as a creative, living her dream as a film producer. And a lot of us get stuck because we are like, there's much more that I can do. But she doesn't get stuck. She's like, there's more that I can do. And guess what? She gets up and she gets it done. And Kimala, when she meets somebody, Kimala is like, you're going to be my friend. You're not afraid for say, we need to sit down and talk, and we need to learn from you. And after she flip it and she learning from you, she's like, Rush, let me show you how some things that you can do with your business. Then she drops off 3 books for you to read. So guys, tonight you have to prepare yourself with your notebooks. Tonight is a masterclass from not just a woman, and tonight is not gender. Tonight is a powerhouse of possibility. A person who sees green pastures where you don't even see land.
Right?
She already sees the end game, and she steps fearlessly and boldly into everything that she does, and she's an inspiration. So get those notebooks out, because you are going to be wowed beyond wowed tonight with Miss Kimala Bennett.
Welcome, Kimala.
Wow. Well, thank you. No pressure.
No pressure.
Happy New Year, ladies.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
We are so happy to have you. I mean, we've had you before at one of our Emerge workshops, but that was more of like a conversation. This one, we really get to go into some details about your journey and what is to come, and just some advice for our audience that's watching. You inspire so many people, including myself. I'm a big fan.
And a friend.
Fan and friend.
We all are.
Yeah, we all are. We all are definitely in awe of what you have accomplished in what may seem like a short space of time, but it's not really. It's not really a short space of time, and it's a lot of work. But I think a lot of people, Rochelle spoke about the lab, and she spoke about you being a creative, but I don't think many people really know your story, your journey, and the fact that you didn't start off going into the creative space. So I would love if you could just share with us your journey, and how you got into the industry that you're in right now.
Are you hearing me? Because everybody was frozen for a second.
Okay, we're hearing you.
So the question to talk about my journey, how I started.
Yes.
So I went to Mount Holyoke College, but before that, Holy Child High School, and I was head girl at Holy Child. Being head girl really prepared me for just leadership, and I think even becoming head girl, because I remember when I stepped onto Holy Childhood's campus, I met the head girl and I was like, I want to be like this young lady, because she just had such grace, but she moved with such confidence and so much intention. And at that time I was like, okay, my goal from first form was to be head girl. But then as I went through high school, I realized that we have a problem, because in order to be head girl, you had to get to sixth form, and in order to get to sixth form, you had to get math, and I was terrible at math, right? So because I was terrible at math, I said, okay, I have to find an extra lesson teacher. And I found Miss Corch at Campion, and I was so bad at math that I had to go to 2 math classes. She had 2 classes. So I had to go to the 9 o'clock class to ensure that I understood what was happening in the 11 o'clock class.
Oh, wow. That sounds very familiar.
Because remember now, there's a bigger vision, right? There's a goal, right? And I mean, when you're setting goals, you have to kind of map out, okay, well, what is it that I need to achieve these goals? And more importantly, what could potentially prevent me from achieving this goal? And math at that time was that issue that we're facing. So I got a 2, very proud of my 2. and entered, into sixth form and was like, okay. But there was this young lady, Sadita Graham. I'll never forget Sadita. Sadita also was on that mission, right? So we had to be like, we're like looking and say, okay, well, what does Sadita have? What do I have? What am I going to bring to the table? And I remember my dad and I think he's watching, worked on speech for a while, because everyone in my household, I would sign things, future head girl of Holy
Wow.
And everybody kind of rallied around me with this thing. So the actual morning now, so we're working on this speech, I'm practicing, I know it down, and in the morning we're driving to school, and my dad was like, we need to change the beginning of this speech. And I'm like, no, like I have the speech.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, this is how we're going to start the speech. And I was like, oh, Daddy, don't do that. No, like and he says, don't vote for me if you want so and so and so. Don't vote for me. Vote for me if you're looking for this. And then I just say, know that I have your attention. Good night. The place to mash up,
Wow.
And I was like, it was over from there. But one of the key things that I learned in that moment, and I mean, sometimes you don't learn it until you're looking back, right?
Exactly.
You have to be flexible. And there's always opportunity to be better. So even though the speech was good enough, the speech could have been that much better. And I think I got that from my dad very early out to always be in that pursuit of excellence. And a lot of times we don't even realize we're passing on these gems as parents. But that's when you're looking back, you're saying, yeah, because you can imagine if I was a rigid person, I would be like, absolutely not. We cannot change. No. And I remember even growing up.
And maybe you wouldn't be head girl.
Well, can you imagine? That speech really made a difference. I mean, to this day, people would say, yes, you remember the speech that you gave at, when you were about to be head girl. So, I mean, leaving early childhood, I was like, I wanted to be a psychologist. And I had taken a year off school, and a lot of people were worried. But I had the opportunity of working. Well, people were worried, Catherine, because when you're making a little money and you're like, Catherine and I go back from as far as high school. But the fear was that I would get accustomed to making money and independence and not want to go back to school. But in that period, I had met. My neighbor at the time was Mrs. Paulette Roden, and I had worked with Crimson Dawn for a while in that year before I went to Mount Holyoke. And when I went to Mount Holyoke, the plan was to be a psychologist. So I went there to major in psychology and minor in film productions. I didn't go there with the intention of minor in film productions, but I met a professor, and she said to me, I was constantly trying to get her on Oprah. That was my goal. I was like, you need to be on Oprah. And she said, you need to not be a psychologist. You need to be in entertainment or film or something. So when I did a film course, she encouraged me to do the film course. I remember I stayed up all night working on this documentary. And I don't remember ever feeling that much passion about any psychology paper. So when I came back to Jamaica now, of course, my goal shift now, fortunately, I have very supportive parents, both mom and dad. So I could have that conversation with them to say, yeah, it's third year in college, but guess what? I don't want to be a psychologist anymore. I want to be a music video director. So I am looking now and I'm saying, okay, well, what's the top music video production company in the US? I need to get an internship there. And it was HSI at the time. They had all the top directors.
Yeah.
I saw, while I was in Jamaica, that Beanie Man was doing the music video Dude, and Little X was going to be the director. So, I had to go do my research to find out where this is being shot. And I rolled up on set. I was like, hi, I'm Kimala, I'm a PA. I'll work for free. I'm here. Anything you want me to do? And I was there. The shoot lasted for, I think, 24 hours. And I was there for the entire time, fetching coffee, doing any little thing. And people were like, did you hear that? Do you know that girl? Girl, man, right? And at the end, he said to me, yo, you're a soldier. Anything you need, I'll try and help you. And I said, well, actually, I would like an internship at HSI, which you happen to, if you could put in a good word for me. He said, okay, I'm to get in touch with this guy named Todd Stringer. Sent him an email, got the internship, and HSI is really what allowed me to really start dreaming and thinking big. Mm-hmm. And as I entered HSI, I just remember thinking to myself, I want an HSI though. Like, why I can't have an HSI?
Uh-huh.
And I thought to myself, let me find out now about the man that owns HSI. And I heard he was actually a production assistant as well. That's how he started. So, immediately for me, I'm thinking, okay, this is it now. This is not going to be my blueprint. And I remember somebody saying to me, boy, I've never seen an intern take their job as seriously as you. Let me tell you, and I recommend internships to every single person. Mm-hmm. It is the most unassuming position. You're a fly on the wall. You get out of it what you want. You photocopy a lot of documents. You hear a lot of things that's going on. So it's up to you to really delve into it, because no one is going to be hush-hush when you're around. They're like, oh no, she's just an intern. So every intern's goal at HSI is to be a director's assistant, because the mission is, if you become a director's assistant and you're learning, and when they don't want something, they then pass on that job to you. Yes. So of course, all interns are like vying. And here comes again Beenie Man with a song for Gorilla Black. No, them don't understand nothing Beenie Man is saying. So somebody says, hold on, but don't we have a Jamaican that's an intern? So of course, it was Paul Hunter.
Present.
Right? I was like, I can translate. And I listened and I transcribed and I explained to them, and I said, but you know what we could do? We could go to this Jamaican club, casting could be there, I could call so-and-so, this, and I just went all out. And soon I was now the Jamaican consultant on the job, because they needed to make sure everything was
and you were the person.
And I was the person, and a very hated intern at the time. But from I don't care. I was enough girl. So I was like, listen, I want a mission. And I tell people all the time, when you go to the States, do not put on an American accent. I speak like a Jamaican, because it's the biggest icebreaker. Everybody knows somebody from Jamaica. Everybody wants to come to Jamaica. So you need to work that accent. You need to work that asset, which is being Jamaican, because it really is cool to be Jamaican.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a while ago, you gave me goose pimples when you just said you're at HSI and you're like, well, why can't I have an HSI? And I think that people are asking themselves, like, what is it about you that you just like, you don't immediately go to HSI and you're like, I want to be president of HSI. You're like, I'm going to have one.
But not only that, Rochelle, she didn't even want to be a director's assistant like what everybody else went there to be. She wants to open her own company. Same thing with the head girl. You see the head girl and you want to be the head girl and you just do it.
What is it that drives that way that you approach things? But I don't want that one. Why don't I just own an HSI?
Yeah.
I think we have to look at just other person's journey. So I'm very inspired by the fact that you can do that. I can also do that as well. So I now need to look to see, let me see this formula. Because there's always a formula now. There's always a framework. Yeah. And you will recognize as you study successful people, it really is very similar. They are all very passionate about what they do. They're all very hardworking, but they're also there's a lot of smart working that's happening as well. Yeah. And there's a plan, but there is not that fear to do and not that fear to fail. Because essentially when I came back to Jamaica to start my HSI, person said to me it wasn't possible. Yeah. And I said to myself, well, that I'm going to try anyway, because the model back there, was you had a roster of directors.
Yeah.
You would represent directors. You would get their jobs, and then the production house themselves would facilitate it. Now, in the Jamaican market, everybody was like, well, everybody's very entrepreneurial, because there are some professions that are going to force you into entrepreneurship, whether or not you want it. So if you're a freelance person, you're an entrepreneur. Yep. And because everybody wanted to kind of control the production or the company fee or, that aspect of it, no one wanted to say, okay, well, I'm not just going to give you like that. I want to do my own thing. And at first it was the case, but I said to myself, I am still going to build the empire that I want here. And while the HSI in its current form didn't work immediately, I remembered about 2 years ago, I thought to myself, I have my HSI though. Because even though I don't have rosters of directors, we had like 4 different directors doing 4 different projects that were in the office in and out. And I was just like, wow. So a lot of times we can't be deterred by the present. You can't be deterred by the present. You have to live and open your mind to the possibility of what it is that you intend to do. And be prepared to put in the work, and be prepared to fail, but always fail forward. Yes. So you're failing with a little bit more knowledge. You're failing with a little bit more perspective. You're failing with just this insight that that, trust me, success cannot teach you. You have to bump your toe and you have to fail. And it's that perspective that then kind of guides you to say, boy, this can't work in this market yet, But you know what? If I can create this now in another 2 to 3 years, then this will eventually happen organically. And it will happen in the form, because the model of production companies are not as dominant as they were now back then.
Yeah. Right.
Times are changing, right? But for me, it was the possibility. And that is why I encourage people to dream big, to associate with persons who are where you want to be.
Yes.
And there's a saying that, if you're the smartest person or
in the room,
you're in the wrong room, right?
Wrong room.
I am constantly wanting to be uncomfortable. I want to feel a little agitated and say, boy, let me Google this before I answer this thing, because you want to feel like you're growing and you're being stretched. And I remember, when I met Michelle, she said that, I'm very deliberate with my circle and my friends and just, I have different pockets of friends, obviously. Yeah. And I remember when I saw Rochelle at an event,
JMB.
I said to Catherine, who is that lady? And she says, you don't know Michelle? Catherine know everybody, right? So, and then I said, she does. I said to her, I said, no, but you need a TV show though. Like, I need to meet her. I'm in the business of content, and I'm going to get even more in that business. And I see someone with this gift that I think it would join forces. And when it was time now to put the board together, it was a no-brainer. I remember we were actually going on a trip, and I said to Kathy, "Do you think Rochelle would do it?" And she said, "Ask her." And that has always been my approach to life. I don't really take no for an answer, So but then I will find a way to get it done.
So Kimala, you come back to Jamaica with this model in your head. Everybody around you is like, we hear you, Mount Holyoke and Miss HSI, but back in Jamaica, what you really are going to do, because this not going to work. Mm-hmm. What got you off the ground and just still pushing forward and just writing a new script? Because you never bothered with the script that was there. You're like, I'm going to write a new script. Mm-hmm. Tell us that when you get back here, what is that like?
So what happens, when I get back to Jamaica, and I was really adamant about staying in the States, and my dad said, no, come home and be a big fish in a small pond. So the lesson is listen to your parents. He said, come home and be a big fish in a small pond. And I was a little, I want to work with Hype Williams. I want to do this. I wanna, and he says, yeah, you can get on a plane and go and work when you come
And come back.
All right. But, I have really, really good friends. I have two best friends, Trisha and Melissa. And at the time, I remember I had to convince my friends, we're going to work for free for a while. And we pretty much, at first I had these ideas of doing these music videos. So I'd fly home while I was in college, the music video here, and just use the money, my fee, to pay the ticket and literally go back. And when I actually came back, it's funny, I had a meeting in my apartment, that studio apartment, with Melissa and Trisha. I said to them, I want to start a company with you guys. We're gonna do this, and I remember Phase 3 Productions was a very big inspiration for me, because I remember just seeing what they were doing, and I was like, I'm big on benchmarking, so I'm always benchmarking, what can I learn from whatever company at the time. And when I was in the room, I said to them, I said, guys, we cannot fail, we cannot fail, because here's what we are going to do differently. Here's whatever. And at the time, Trisha was just like, well, she can't do it right now. She had a job, she had a full-time job, and she had a lot more obligations than we had at the time. And Melissa was like, she is going back to the States to do her master's. And I was a little bummed out. I was like, yo, them don't get it, but, so I kind of went on, we're hustling and, doing our thing. And then I said to Melissa, give me 1 year, if it don't work out in 1 year. Again, remember, I don't really take no for an answer.
Right.
If it don't work out in 1 year, you go back and do your master's. I go back and do my master's as well. And, we'll go find a job, because, if it don't work out. But in the back of my mind, I knew it would. And I remember we got our first, at the time, my goal now was to get a Digicel commercial. Remember, Digicel is on TV.
Yes.
All day, every day. And, and I'm just like, no, man, I come back from film school, come back from HSI, got some little tricks in my, really kind of studying, and thought to myself, I could do a better job, or I could do work that could, really stand out. And the first project we got, Trisha couldn't come in from the country, because even though Trisha was a producer, the original producer at the time, she had a job, and the job was in Ochi, and she said, boy, she can't come in. And I said to Melissa, I said, yo, Melissa, you're gonna have to produce this, She's like, I don't know about producing. I said, trust me, you know a lot about producing. So Melissa was the producer, and we did our very first project for Digicel. Harry Smith was the marketing director at the time. Nasha was in marketing at the time, so full circle moment now. But what it really taught me is that, one of my mantras is success is when preparation meets opportunity, or when opportunity meets, preparation.
Yes.
Because you have to be prepared for when that opportunity comes.
Yeah.
And what happens a lot of times that we say we want to do things and we want to do that, and we're just planning, but we're not doing. I was practicing with music videos with the goal of eventually getting a big commercial to be done. I wasn't just saying I want to do commercials. I have to start somewhere. And another thing was, if I had stayed in the States, I would be forever an aspiring director. At least when I came back to Jamaica, I now became a director from Jamaica. So that's a big thing in terms of ensuring that you are doing, so that you're sharpening those tools, because now what that happens is, when the opportunity actually comes, I would have been prepared to seize that opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what happened.
Yeah. So, you come from a musical.
Is everybody looks frozen? Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I realize from time to time, to us, you look frozen, but we're hearing you very clearly. So I think we're fine.
Yeah. So you come from a musical family. Everybody for those of you that don't know, Kimala's father is the legendary Mikey Bennett. He is a super producer. Her brother is Nikki B. Her mom, let me not say Auntie Judy. Judy Colton Bennett, who is a makeup extraordinaire, right? Makeup artist extraordinaire. And so you grew up in a creative space. You grew up with a family that is surrounded by music. Auntie Janet, everybody. So what would make you want to leave entertainment and music and start to think about advertising?
Well, if you really think about it, they're not that different, you know. I mean, and what you find about even the creative and the music industry is that it teaches you so much. It also forces you into entrepreneurship. And the funny thing was that I didn't want to be in this. I mean, I thought it was a bit too unstable, and there's too much going on. I wanted a picket fence, 9-to-5 job, but then the funny thing is that I remember when I was younger, and I was telling somebody this the other day, we had I had some neighbors, right? And neighbors were very, lunch, dinner time, and everybody sit at the table. And my parents separated when I was pretty young, but I mean they were still very supportive, and they're the best of friends now anyway, right?
Yeah.
So you're at one house and you leave a socks, and then you come and it's just a mess, right? Sometimes. But what I realized, I said, there is no way I could be in this job with such a level head had I not have that kind of what I call flexibility.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, back in the day, it was like, oh my God, I'm going to live with my grandma. I need some, but now it shows me that it allowed me to really just move with the flow and figure things out. You just so you're not as rigid as some people would be. Because when I have a client that calls and says they need something the next day, my first inclination is not to say it can't get done. I definitely think it can get done, but are you willing to pay for it? Mm-hmm. Because it can get if it can get done, then we're going to find a way to get it done. And I think a lot of times we go through there are circumstances that we think, boy, I wish I had that. Like, no, a lot of our life lessons are preparing us for something much greater. And it's not until when you look back, you say to yourself, boy, I'm thankful, for that. But
so speak.
What you said?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go back to the whole thing about a musical family. I think for me, I wanted to ensure that, ever since I had a vision of this empire that I wanted to build, legacy that I wanted to leave. And I just could not be satisfied with, being just a little director. I wanted to have several directors that I wanted my HSI. Yeah. But what I appreciated about the process of being a director was that, no, I am a translator. So when a producer comes to me and says to me, the director is asking for this, I can say, I know why the director is asking for this.
Yeah.
Because XYZ, Or when I see a PA doing something, I am trying to explain to the production assistants that, listen, you know everything that's going on this set. And guess what? You can choose any role you want on this set. And you can understudy whoever you want. So you really get out of life what you intentions that you set. If you intend to be this particular profession, and you're just going to sit and say, boy, I'm just a PA, then you will always be.
Yeah.
But if you are more in, thinking about, well, I'm a future DP or I'm an aspiring DP, you are just temporary a PA that will eventually become a DP.
Right.
And then you have to ensure that what are you doing in that? Yeah. Exactly. So, are you filming things so that when that DP you meet with them, you can show them your phone and say, here are some of the things that I'm doing. Here's my reel. Or are you just waiting to get
an opportunity to find you?
I just wanted to streamline things, and it's funny because when I took the step to say, boy, I'm now going to become a CEO, right? And, I now want to grow this business. And I moved from BET to Bloomberg. Never understand half of what was on Bloomberg, but I recognize now that I now need to understand the truth
Yeah.
on that level. And I started with, I think the best way to learn things is to buy teen books. Because most books have a kid's version to it. They have a teen version to it. You buy that book and you understand a lot more. I think it was like Motley's teen on investing, or
that's interesting.
That's a great,
Let's pull up families. I just want to make sure everybody heard what she said.
Yes, please.
Right? Instead of just diving right into things that we don't know, find the kiddie version of it so that you can understand it at a very granular level.
Yeah.
And then you can move into
simplified.
Whatever. Exactly.
If you are not, again, if you are not like scratching your head and Googling and looking up things, it means you're not learning.
Yeah.
So I am now in rooms with persons, and I was very deliberate now, because this is now a new stage in my life. All my friends were now investment bankers and people in business. And I remember someone said to me one day, what's your business model? And I was like, oh, you mean my business plan? No, your business model. And I was like, what is that? So I go Google business model, and I found this amazing template called the business model canvas. And that's what I use for everything, because I was like, okay, that one question that the person asked me, and I wasn't afraid to say, I don't understand, what you mean. And they were like, okay, how your company make money? And I was like, well, he's like, well, that's not sustainable. I was like, what do you mean? I was offended. But at the time, I was like, no, tell me more. Why isn't it sustainable? And then I had to say, boy, it's true, it's not sustainable if we continue like this. It could, we could run a little thing and a little hustle, but that was not my intention. That was not the vision that I had. So being very deliberate with, the persons that you surround yourself with, the different, the masterminds that you create. A book called Think and Grow Rich is a book that I think everyone should read, because it does speak about just that circle and the importance of that mastermind, because that is what's going to push you and just keep the brain working.
Yeah.
So you talk about the influence that people have and that you're learning from others, but growing up with so many influences that are masters in their own space. There is nothing I can call Mikey Bennett and ask him about music that he don't know. And more than just music life, right? He talks about, his guidance, Auntie Judy, same thing, Auntie Janet, same thing. But how Nicholas, people don't even know the extent that Nicholas is involved in the music industry and all the things that he's actually accomplished, because he doesn't shout it from the mountaintops. But having all of those people as influences in your life, and they're using their experiences, how has a lot of their experiences impacted your journey? What are some of the things that you've learned and taken away from their experiences?
A lot, actually. The interesting thing is that my mom, was also an entrepreneur. And I grew up seeing her, she had a salon, she used to have a boutique. So she herself was, very entrepreneurial, and is still very entrepreneurial. And because of that, I grew up seeing that. And as I said, my dad being a musician, producing, and really it was funny because I heard him on an interview the other day, and he was explaining just what was happening at the time. But when you're a child, you don't really understand, who these people are, what they were doing. So in retrospect, you kind of look back and say, oh, so that person was a planner. Oh, so that person was responsible for that. Oh, so that's how that worked. So you kind of see these things and you pick up these cues, because you're like, he was working all the time, late nights, had to get it right, and then produce this product that did well. And then, of course, Nikki, who is, always ahead and always thinking. So it's so funny. He called me like about 2-3 months with this whole Clubhouse thing. Like, Clubhouse, what is that? And he was like, no, man, trust me. And I was like, okay, yeah, right. Like last month, I messaged him. I said, yo, you get on Clubhouse? And he's like,
done that.
but also, you know, he was my guinea pig for many years. You know, I did a lot of his music videos. You know, we never have much money and not a lot of budget, but we made it happen. And a lot of my, you know, time was spent trying to get him this record deal. So there was a lot of hustling going on while I was even in LA. And I remember, you know, one night, I had met Hype Williams at a wedding, right? And, you know, Hype Williams is like the godfather of the video. And he was in a wedding and I was the videographer. So I'm here and this time is big battery pack and big light and big camera. And I'm here with this big camera, right? And, you know, Tony was Tony Kelly's wedding, and Tony introduces me to him and, you know, says, boy, you know, she aspiring director. And I was like, your wife. So I said to him, I said, well, you know, I'd love to, you know, touch bases with you, blah, blah, blah. And he gives me this email, right? So of course, the email don't really work because, you know, when you go, you send them email and you don't get no response. Yes. And I'm like, so he responded at first. He says, yeah, you know, we can, you know, get together, so and so and so. And I was like, okay. Every week I'm emailing because I'm now back in LA. No response. And he said, no, sir. So I call, I said, where does Hype work? Because I'm at interning at HSI. No, remember, I don't do that. Where does Hype work? So Carl said to me, he has his own company. I said, what is his assistant's name? He said, my assistant named Marvin. So I just called, I said, Marvin, this is Kimala from Jamaica. I met Hype, he gave me his email address, but for whatever reason, it's not working. He says, oh, his new address, because I make sure I give him the address I have, you know.
Yes.
You know, there's credibility to this. And then he says, oh no, he's moved over to BlackBerry, because at the time it was, I think, a sidekick team.
Sidekick.
Right. So he says he's moved over to BlackBerry. So I was like, they're Hype. Hype says, boy, you persistent. Meet at the office next week. So I go and meet with him. I tell him, you know what my vision is. I want to be a documentary filmmaker. I want to direct music videos, blah, 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 whatever. He says, okay, I'm getting ready to do this movie, whatever. So I said, listen, I'm here. I work for free. I don't care. I just want to learn. So weeks pass, nothing happened. And then I get this email in the night. Like I'm talking, because I'm an insomniac. So I trying to kind of cut that out now, but it's like a 2-3 a.m. in the morning saying, hey, I'm in Prague with Kanye West. Need you to fly out tomorrow. No, need you to fly out like Friday. So like this is like the Tuesday.
You never asked where Prague is.
I know. What you do? Google, right? Because Google. I don't know where Prague was, right? It's in the Czech Republic. So I then take this I didn't know. Remember, I said I don't have no Czech visa. I don't business with that because I am going to Prague. So I don't tell him I don't have no visa or nothing. I just said, okay, I'll be there. First thing in the morning, I tell Auntie Janelle and Uncle Howie, love them to death. They, housed me when I was in LA. Second family, second parents. And Auntie Janelle she calls me Kimmy Sue. She's like, Kimmy Sue, whatever you need. So we go now to the Czech visa place or wherever. And I'm explaining to the people that, listen, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. We need this visa back for tomorrow. They say, the lady's looking at me a little strange. She said, okay, she's not.
Did Kimala disappear for
just
everybody?
as the story and get juicy. Yes.
Okay, you're back, Kimala. You're back.
Perfect. Because he's not.
The lady's looking at you funny.
Yeah, she's looking at me funny because it's like, okay, I need to get this visa to go
ASAP.
Get the visa literally the day. Like literally pick up the visa, go to the airport. Go to the airport, fly for however long hours, and then eventually I get to Prague. We're shooting the Kanye West Diamonds Are Forever video. And I just remember standing there and hearing Kanye on the phone with Jay. Like, he's like, yeah, Jay, we're whatever. And I'm just like, what?
With Jay, that's...
But
JMB?
Huh?
Jesse?
Yes, you're BFF.
So I was like, but the bigger thing for me, that I was just dreaming even bigger. And Mike was so great about it. Like he was just like, you can do anything you want to do. I started out just like and now now he's in Prague. We're shutting down the bridge and just doing all kind of things. So we're getting ready to leave now. And I know because I'm kind of over trying to listen to what they're saying, and they're like, okay, they're going back to Los Angeles to go work with some producer. So when I'm getting ready to leave, I know that Kanye was supposed to be on my bus to go to the airport, and I noticed he wasn't there. So I said to them, I said, we need to go wake him up. So he comes on, he's late and whatever. Because my goal now is I need to get Nicholas's CD to Kanye because I can't do it during the time. I don't want to look unprofessional.
Yes.
So I have to get him. So when we're leaving now, I said to him, they come and he's like, oh, thank you, because we're getting ready to go meet with this producer and whatever. So we stop in Germany. And no, before we get to Germany, we're in the departure lounge, and he was like, yo, this is your Jamaican? I said, yes, I am. He says, I'm getting ready to go and meet with this Jamaica producer, Tony Kelly. Again. So I was like, we're talking, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm telling him, about my dad. He made well, I didn't say it was my dad. He was just asking me who are the top producers, and he says, so who is the hottest kid in Jamaica? No. And I had my CD, and I was like, here he is. So, but again, there as there's just always so much opportunity in everything that we do. And sometimes we just have to, pace ourselves, because I could have easily tried to give Kanye that thing earlier. I knew it would not have been the right time.
Right.
He would not have been focused on what it was. He would not have been, he would have thought I was absolutely unprofessional.
Yeah.
So my goal at that time, or my mission, was to ensure that I did it at a time when we were leaving. I'd probably never see him again. And knew that we were going, on the same bus, and so I had to make sure he got himself on that bus, because I was just like, he's about to be late.
Yeah.
But so I've enjoyed, just that little hustling part of it as well, and just try and be as strategic as you possibly can be to achieve what you set out to achieve.
What I love about what you just said, Kimala, is the fact that you got this call, you didn't hesitate, you didn't even know where the place was. But you didn't, as you said, you were prepared for the opportunity and you ran with it with no questions asked. You were just like, I'll be there.
Yeah. There's a very important part of that puzzle, though, is faith.
Yeah.
And Rochelle said about stepping out in 2021 on faith. Because if I didn't have that faith to know that I would have gotten that visa, I would immediately been doubting whether or not that would. And that is such a big part of what drives me, is knowing that there is a God that provides. Yeah. But I have to do my part.
Yes. Yeah.
So if I pray hard, I have to work hard. If I'm praying for something, I have to put in the work. So the work that I am going to put in is I'm going to go find that application online. I'm going to get there first thing in the morning. I'm going to ensure that I have all the equipment ready, and I'm going to prove that I am ready for this blessing and I am ready for this opportunity.
Oh,
I'm not pitching. And if it never works, then guess what? I am not rushing to go on no plane. So if it don't work, it was not
meant
to be. Yeah.
But you have done your part.
I did my part. And that is very important, that we have to recognize that we can't just pray and sit back. We pray hard.
Put in the action. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Kimala, one of the things, because one of my favorite phrases coming out of 2020 was, I feel away. As much as we make, we say it, But because sometimes we feel away and we feel slighted when we send that first email, no answer. We send that second email, no answer. And our initial thing is almost make them go, because you make me feel away.
Yeah.
But you feel away, you're like, what kind
What's
of
next? What next? Who else can I contact?
But we also have to be practical, right? And I mean, it's actually something that I'm very conscious of, because I have, you know, I am now in that position where I'm busy, you know, but I have to remember that I can't ever be too busy for someone who's trying to get in, because I was there a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm very, very conscious of, you know, that very persistent person who, you know, either wants an intern or internship or wants to get in on this. I will always take at least one call or have that one conversation, because that was me a couple of years ago. And I think it's very important for us to recognize, you know, just the opportunities that we've been given and to pay it forward.
Yeah.
Very
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So Kimala, I know several persons are wondering about like listing, and for those, and you know, let me tell you one of the things, you know, like on this show, we're talking about anything you don't know about. Just Google. I Google things. Like I sit down here and I Google things all the time.
Yeah,
Things I Google. So Kimala's company, Limnos and Bards. For those of us who are students of literature, we know what that means. The lab.
The lab.
Because now you look like you want to take offense. You know what it is.
I'm just saying. Tell us who the Limnas and Bards are.
So the thing is that it is the lab, and it is a listed company, which means that it exists on the Junior Stock Exchange of Jamaica. There are shareholders involved in this organization. We have annual reports, there's filings. It is like, this is the next level of companies. And we have persons who are on the show who are seeing their business now as a small business. And, you know, in the back of their mind, they're like, one day I would like to have my company listed. But the thought of it, like, give them nausea, because they're like, there's no possible way. How do you get from coming back to Jamaica to start a film production company to now having a listed company where the shares were oversubscribed? What gets you to
and it's still performing very, very well. I'm a proud shareholder. Thank you, Kimala.
Yes.
And Burgess says proud shareholder there.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the things is you have to truly believe, and you know, sometimes you try and find these profound things to say, because you're like, oh, that again. But there's a reason why things are cliche, right? Because there is some truth to it.
Exactly.
And for me, I am in constant pursuit of excellence. I'm driven by excellence. I resent mediocrity. I will break out in hives. And for me, good is always the enemy of great.
Mm-hmm.
So we're good, but how can we be great? And if there is a step that we can take to make us that much better, to keep us growing, improving, then I will always take that step. Now, the interesting thing about us listing was there's a young man named Randy Rowe. I don't know if any of you know Randy, but Randy has a series now where he actually talks and teaches about investing. And I had met Randy a couple of years ago, where Randy came to work with us as a copywriter. Mm-hmm. But Randy's extremely smart, and I mean, he's a strategist. And I said to him, I said, Randy, you know, you're a strategist though. And he's like, you know, he's like, okay, I guess I am. So, you know, it was because that was another thing that I always think that we can do anything. Like, it was a running joke with me and Melissa. People would say to us, do you guys do? Yes, we do. Like the first TV show we did, I called Delana. I was like, Delana, can we come and sit in on the Susan show to see how you actually do this TV show thing? Because in my mind, I just don't think limits. I think possibilities, because as long as there are people that I can call and there is advice that can be given, and you have, a working mind, you can figure it out. And the thing that I always did was I always went for the best. So one of the things that happened with the lab, and one of our core values is literally the word excellence, right? And it's grounded in the fact that quality matters most. So that became our competitive advantage very early. We were not going to skim on the quality of a video to make that little money in the beginning, because I knew that me giving you a business card saying that I'm a film director meant nothing. You seeing an ad on the TV that looked really good meant everything. People should be saying, who did that ad? Because then that is my business card. My business paper don't mean nothing. I want to see what you've done. So what I started to do was we would reinvest back into the projects. And I tell young business owners all the time, do not be obsessed with money in the beginning. You have to differentiate your product. You have to focus on quality. You have to set a name for yourself, but discount it 100%. So don't give away anything do not give 000. You show what the value of it is, and then you discount it by 100% or by however percent, so that they understand the value, but they also understand that this is an introductory fee. Or this is something that I want to do to prove to you that that we can do this and we have the capabilities of doing this. So when I started talking to Randy started to explain to me, the whole idea of listing and I thought back to all the companies that I would look or the features that I would watch on Bloomberg, and all of a sudden this whole idea of IPO now made sense, and I said, oh, that is what that is. Because I'm talking to Randy, when we listed, this conversation was about like a year and a half before. And I had been approached earlier because, again, Capital Quest, we were the producers of Capital Quest. And I remember Stephen Gooden, who is now our chairman, came to me and said, I'm impressed with the team. Like, it's business. I want to understand more. And he said, have you ever thought of listing? And I said, just watch the social network and say, not interested. So I said, I need to learn more about it. So I went and I did my research, asked all the questions, and Randy really guided me through the process in terms of thinking now on this much bigger scale. Because, and again, as I say, had I not spoken to Randy, I could have easily said, boy, I don't understand anything Randy's saying. And I would always say, okay, break it down for me. Yeah. So in other words, if this is this, then this means this. And he would be like, no, let's go again. So I'm a constant student. I want to constantly be learning, and I want to understand, okay, well, how is this going to benefit the company? Yeah. And there were some non-negotiables for me that I said, okay, these boxes can be checked, then I'm good to go. And there were, and I said, okay, I'm going to move along with it. No, I was very scared because, but they say if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough, right? Yeah. But that aspiration has to make you feel a little agitated. Yeah. You have to be at night, it's like, it's in your head, but it also has to be attainable. Yeah. So you have this big aspiration, but if it's not attainable, then it's going to frustrate you. So you have to be able to say to yourself, is this attainable? And you say yes, it is. But then you ask yourself, what is going to prevent me from getting this? And then you try and check those boxes. And then you ask yourself a very important question. Who do I need to become to be able to do this? Yes. And if you can't get to that point in time, who do I need by my side to help me to achieve that? So it's that constant, it's not about, Lord, I can't do it. It's about, it can get done, but how?
And are you willing to do it?
And are you willing to do it? And ask yourself that question, really do that SWOT analysis. Like I know in Naomi's book, you speak about that, your personal brand, but doing that SWOT analysis. And even at the first Emerge, you spoke about doing that SWOT analysis. It's very important exercise because
Rochelle, swag analysis.
SWOT analysis. Right? When we started the company, Melissa and I, and the production lab actually stood for Llewellyn and Bennett. Melissa was clearly the bad cop, right? I was the good cop. I was the softie. I've grown a lot since then. So I was that person that them call and say, no, I just want this, and I would say, okay, yeah, man, we can do it. And Melissa was like, no. So we made a decision very early that we would choose lanes. So she would deal with everything having to do with money and business, and I would be on the creative path, which was writing the treatment, and we respected those lanes. But when we came back, as equal shareholders of the company, then it was more of, okay, well, what's in the best interest for the business? But I knew that growing the lab, or even at that point in time, I could not do it alone. And then when Melissa left, and funny enough, working and looking and saying, okay, well, advertising is you have to have a successor. I was very, very strategic in identifying who that person was as well. And Tashara Lee knows that. I mean,
Tashara Lee. Hi, Tash.
And the interesting thing is that, when I was going off on maternity leave, I was going through coaching with Marcia Winshaw at the time, action coach. And Marcia said to me, well, who is going to take over, while you're out? And I said, Tash. And she said, okay. And I mean, I think people in the office were like, Tash, because Tash is young and she whatever, but Tash is amazing. And I mean, she is fire. Like, remember I said it here, look out for her, because just the resilience and the passion, but she's the hardest working person I know, and just very, very, intentional with what she's doing. So I remember Marcia calling me and she said, a sign of good leadership is being able to identify persons who can fill her roles. And she said, we could not have chosen a person. She has never seen, a young person with such courage. That was the word she used. Wow. And it made her feel, proud to know that young people, young women, were really kicking it. And
that's amazing.
That for me is very important to ensure that I am mentoring, and it's reverse mentorship, because we mentor each other, and it's that kind of learning. We're learning together. So she sits on the board. I don't make any major decision without calling and consulting her, because I really respect her mind and just her attitude, towards the business. So even though I'm the CEO, she plays a major part as well in just the decision making.
Listen, when we did the artwork for Emerge, I sent it to Tash before I sent it to Kimala.
No, man, Tash solid.
Yeah, but I think the important lesson for all of us, with you, just even how you big up Tash and how you acknowledge Tash and how you acknowledge Tash's talent. For you want to list your company, it meant that you were opening up your company to shareholders. You could have kept those, one. But two, it could just be the Kimala show.
No,
right.
You could just be the star.
Absolutely.
And everybody just know Kimala and nobody else exists. And a part of the power of leadership is leading.
Yes.
And bringing up other leaders and be fearless about it. And it's something that I admire about what you are able to do. And that you're able to do, it's another woman, you're not threatened, because you know, other people are like, you have this conversation, but it's a woman, this something. And it is very important that we're having these conversations about business and
Yes.
what we can do, and seeing talent in people and knowing that the business will grow when we grow the talent.
And what we can do together.
Exactly.
And you know, one of the important things is, you know, in any business is getting the right people in the right seats. So, you know, that there's another book, Good to Great by Jim Collins, that
Yes.
I mean, definitely a staple, where he talks about getting the right persons on the bus and getting the right people in the right seats. And also, you know, I a full circle moment really also came when I remember when I said that we were all in this room, and you know, Melissa, she obviously spent the year, and we ran the company together for a while, and then she decided to go back. Trisha stayed in corporate, but Trisha, when we were also building out the company, Trisha played a major role in bringing that structure, because one of the things is that I never worked for anyone. So even though at the time it seemed like, you know, Trisha should have just come at the time, it was good that she stayed there, because she was now able to bring that structure, and Trisha has been producing for me since high school, since childhood, and is still able to pull any event, any production together. So, you know, and Melissa, even though she's not a part of the company, or she's a shareholder, but she's not in the runnings of the company, she's our international connection. When we have these massive productions, or you know, we have multiple productions coming down, she comes down and or sometimes run them from where she is because you know, because of COVID. So I have been really blessed with a core solid team that, you know, is able to support me not only personally but professionally. And I think the importance is that we were all on the same wavelength, because I tell people all the time, I could come across as being pretty abusive if you're not on my wavelength, in the sense of saying go 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 go.
Right.
And it's not for everybody, and that's fine. But because we're all in pursuit of those dreams and getting it better and doing it better and hitting that goal, then it's, you know, no job is too small or too big.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, it's a team effort. You know, if I have to go, and I remember one day we were expecting a client, and somebody wanted to be doing something, and the client was coming. The client was coming to the office, and the office needed some fix up. And I out there, and I was there with the mop at the time, because at the time that was what was needed. And the other persons in the company needed to be focusing on other things to get ready for that presentation. And I didn't think anything of it. And I remember the team was talking, and, you know, sometimes you're, you know, reflecting, and someone said that the fact that I picked up that mop said to them that, you know, I'm not just telling them what to do, but I work as they work. You just don't know. So there's just those little things that you have to continuously know, that your team watching, you have to lead by example, and you'll be surprised that they will rise to the occasion. And trust me, Team Lab has risen to the occasion, because I have
time
the best.
and time again. So Kimala, let me ask you a question, right? Because I know people, maybe if you're like me, you're watching, you're listening, you feel inspired, you feel motivated, but then you ask yourself, how does she do this? Like, how do you find the time to do all these things? You mentioned earlier that you're also a mom of a brilliant child. I don't even know how you keep up with Liam, because he's definitely one of the smartest toddlers I've ever come across in my life.
We call him Rocket Man.
Rocket Man, and now talking about everything that's out in the solar system. It's crazy. But then look at his mom, right? So, but how do you do that? I know balance can be a weird word for people, women especially, but you seem to still be able to do everything. How do you do that? Okay, well, tell us about that. Tell us about that. How do you function?
I think balance is a very tricky word, you know, and I mean, I think people think that balance means that it's like
Means balance.
exactly it's balance.
Right.
No, it doesn't always work out like that. I think the important thing is health. Let's just get that very clear. I cannot do this alone.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, I have Shamika, I have my mommy, who's Nana, and then of course I have Adrian, who is also a very supportive partner in terms of what is it that I'm doing. And I mean, it's so funny because I said I said the other day in a previous interview that he challenges me and he forces me to level up, and he was challenging me the other day and he said, don't just say that when I challenge you. And did you lie on that interview? And I said, well,
I don't mean it's like that.
I didn't lie. I mean, that's what you say. But, you do. I do appreciate. I mean, even though I know he's watching this right now, which is going to be another story. But he's absolutely very supportive. With what I do. I think that really helps because it's when you have a strong support system, you feel invincible.
Yeah.
You can't. So there is nothing that I think that I can't do. No, the difference is there are a lot of things that I don't want to do, and I'm okay with that, right? But if there's anything that I say, I want to do this, or I want this, I am now going to work out, okay, how am I going to get this? And a lot of it has to do with the support system. So I know I can do this because I know I have mommy and I have Shamika, and I know I can do this because I have Adrian that's going to back me. I know I can do this because my brothers are going to rally around me. I know I can do this because my parents have always facilitated that. They've always entertained the madness.
Yes.
For lack of a better word, So what I would say to people is acknowledge, however, when you're failing in certain areas, because you will. Because what it means is that something is getting more of your time at a particular time, and something is possibly, not getting the time that it needs. And what it sometimes means is that you probably need help in that particular area. So looking at what, for a CEO, your job is to work on being replaceable. You're indispensable, So you're indispensable to the business. Your goal is to add value, but your mission should be replaceable, because you should have that succession plan in place that if you want to take a vacation for a week or two, you can take a vacation because the systems are in place, the right people are in the right seats, and you are replaceable. I have absolutely no problem with being replaced, but I have to ensure that the right person is ready and can do that, because the business is bigger than me. It's much bigger than me. And then there are some of those things that you have to do, like somebody else can't do that. And that is not that time frees you up to do. There was a great article Patrick Hilton had recommended to me years ago, What Only the CEO Can Do. It's an article from the Harvard Business Review. And I recommend that any aspiring CEO read that article, because it speaks to really zoning in on what only you can do and focus on those things, and then delegating. But also recognizing that there's an art to delegation. So you delegate and don't give all the information. So the person have to come back to you for the phone number. The person have to come back to you for the context. The person have to come back to you, and then you just say, you know what, let me just do it myself. As opposed to sitting the person down and saying, listen, here is the backstory. This is the why we're doing this. This is who you need to call. This is the conversation I've had before. This is the introductory email I'm going to send. here are all the files that you need to read, and also ensure that the person has the capacity to be able to take on this task. Because sometimes it's really setting people up to fail.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you fall back into that thing of, boy, let me just do it myself because this don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
So it's very important to recognize, you know, what only you can do. I think for both as in all spheres of your life, and then the other things you just find a way to delegate and ask for help.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you
go
know,
ahead, Ruth.
so now just putting in context limnas and bards, which I was always fascinated with, because limnas is pretty much the person who kind of translates the story.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the producer, the director, and bard is like Shakespeare, the one who
Yes.
writes and composes. And with Kimala, I always wondered which one she is, and through her journey, she's actually both.
Both. Yes.
Between both, but she also invites others to be either one or
Yeah.
Yes.
and do it on their
So
own.
I want to tell you a very funny story about the name, the Limnas and Bards. And, you know, I just want to acknowledge Andre Burnett, you know, rest his soul. You know, Andre started out as our first creative director. And our company, the company was called the Production Lab at the time. And when we
Right.
took the decision to transition into being an agency, which was also a pivotal, you know, point in the company, because being a production company means that you're working with a lot of agencies, and you know, taking that decision now to be, you know, an agency was really inspired or pushed by a mentor of mine, Andrea Coy, who said to me, "You can't be dabbling on the fence. Be bold and go forward." She asked me 3 important questions, and she said, "If you can answer these questions, then go ahead." So because the production lab was, just very limiting, I
Yes.
said we needed the lab. We called the company's office, and the company's office said we can't have the lab. So I don't take no. Dre, Dre, how can we get the lab? I need some words that gets me the lab. That means agency or whatever. And he came back with I didn't even know what it meant at the time at first.
Brilliant.
And we got the lab.
Love it. Love it. So that means his legacy also gets to live on through the agency.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Guys, is it time for best advice?
I think so. So now we have our little fire round of questions. Best advice. So the first question we'll ask is, what is the best advice you would give or you have received about love? Why would it choose to be?
Right. No, exactly.
I think it would have to be. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, we're hearing you now.
Yeah.
It would have to be personalizing your love. A lot of persons talk about the love languages and really ensuring that you're loving the person the way they need to be loved, or how they best receive love. So I think it would definitely have to be personalizing that love.
I like that.
And also I think in a time like this is really just showing the person that you love them. They always say love is an action word.
Yeah.
You also have to act in a way that is most effective to the person you're loving.
Absolutely. Okay, best advice about money.
Money. So years ago, I read a book called The Automatic Millionaire. And it spoke about paying yourself first. But it took it to another, it took it further. It said that you were to create an account that automatically took money from your account on the day that your salary hit the account. And that account you should not have accessible. So, if on online banking, it shouldn't be on online banking. it should take work to get to the account.
To get through.
So when the money hits your account, it automatically takes it a set amount every month. And guys, trust me, it works, because I forgot about that account until I actually really needed it. One day. So it really is about, and I recommend that book as well, because they also talk about what they call the latte, things that add up. And they call it the latte because the latte is like, we said $5, $5 US. But then it adds up if you buy a latte every morning.
Right.
What that work out to be, at the end of the month or at the end of the year. So it's really just, paying yourself first, making the savings automatic, and focusing on those little things that add up, savings. And then my uncle Howie told me something too about not keeping cash on the weekend because you will spend it.
Definitely.
So just the more cash you have,
the more you spend.
It just goes. So
true.
Yeah.
Okay, so the best advice that you have received or you would give about life?
Live it urgently. Live life urgently. And by urgently, it doesn't mean frantically. It means with passion, with intention, with just drive, and stop procrastinating. I think if anything that 2020 has taught us, it taught us, even though we knew, it has just really brought us to the forefront, is that tomorrow isn't guaranteed.
Yeah.
You wake up every morning and it wasn't guaranteed. So we have to give God thanks for that, but live with a certain sense of urgency that, shows that you're going after something.
Yeah. I love that. Live life with a sense of urgency.
Okay. Best advice about relationships?
Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff. There was an article. I do a lot of reading. There was an article that was written by a young lady named Susie Welsh. She's married to Jack Welsh. She wrote an article called the 10-10-10 rule, and it spoke about thinking about the consequences of your actions in these buckets.
Yeah.
So in 10 minutes, in 10 months, and in 10 years, what will the consequence of that, your action be? And I think a lot of times the small stuff, we sweat it. And I sweat the small stuff, but this is the best advice that I sweat the small stuff all the time. But I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But I think she gave an example of, she gave two examples, which I thought was really cool. And she said the first one was she had this job that she really wanted to become like, an editor or a chief editor or something like that. And one night she had promised her kids that she was going to order pizza and they were going to watch Malcolm in the Middle, and the babysitter was there. And as she's about to walk out the door, the boss calls and said, "We have an emergency, breaking news, the media." She's like, "Man." So she calls the house and she says, "Okay, what do I do? The kids have been looking forward to watching this thing with me all week. I haven't been home." And she says, "Okay, in 10 minutes, they are going to be upset and you're going to be annoyed. And I'm going to feel like crap. But in 10 months, I will probably have a promotion, or I'll be on track to have a promotion, and my kids will not remember about this. And in 10 years, it will be even bigger. Them worse not even remember about this." So she made the decision to stay. But she said years after, her son, something similar happened, and her son was going off to college. And he had this tournament. He had been working on this thing forever, and he was really bad, and he got really good. And it meant a lot for her to see him at the tournament. And a similar thing happened in terms of boss caller, and she said no.
Yeah.
Because in 10 minutes, if she says no, but in 10 months when he goes off to college, he may feel not loved. He may internalize this, and then where that goes in 10 years, he's a drug addict. So I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
So I always, kind of keep in the back of my mind, not only in, my personal relationships, but even in my professional relationships, because I think it's a good leadership tool.
Absolutely.
In terms of decision making, because a big part of leadership is making tough decisions.
Yeah.
And ensuring that, these decisions will always have consequences, but it doesn't make the decision feel any better, but at least there's some kind of context and perspective.
Yeah. Normally we have so many questions, and it's so crazy. Everybody's just commenting on the things that you're saying. They're not actually asking any questions, because like Rochelle said in the beginning, this was going to be a masterclass, so come prepared to take your notes. So Kimala, honestly, tell us first of all, where can our viewers find you?
Find me?
Yeah.
Like online.
I'm just troubling you.
No, exactly.
I'm on Instagram, Kimala Bennett, at Kimala Bennett. But I also have a page, Becoming CEO, which is a masterclass series that I'm actually working on for emerging CEOs, young CEOs. And I see Catherine smiling and Naomi nodding, and I know why, because I've had this idea forever that will manifest in 2021. So me putting it out there today. I made my first post on Becoming CEO, which
I saw
that Emerge was tagged, and I said,
Emerge, yeah.
So it means that I will be emerging in 2021.
We're here for it.
That's what it means. It's absolutely symbolic.
So, and I'm going to put you on the spot as well, because I didn't have the ability to get your book the first time that it was published. So I need to know if in 2021 we're getting an updated edition.
In 2021, it will definitely be updated. It's just to be proofread now, but for sure. And one of the things that I had lunch with a good friend of mine today, Nadine Matthews, and Nadine
and she's here.
These whole lunches, that I just feel so energized, after. And I was just saying to her that, I heard a quote way back when that spoke about not allowing the perfect to be the enemy of the good. So I'm declaring it today on the show that.
Thank you, Nadine.
I'm just gonna do it. Yeah, she's like, just do it.
Right. So don't be surprised that when you go on the page, there is only one post.
There's only one post, but I'm gonna be posting this week. We're gonna get
very exciting. So be one of the first.
Trisha asked, "What are you conquering next?" Can you hear Kimala?
Trisha, what am I conquering next? I know what I'm conquering next, actually. So it's gonna be more content. Content creation. That's really gonna be a big focus for us at the lab. We are the limners and bards, and we're gonna really live up to that to that name in the content space. We have been doing it. Really indirectly and not really defining that space. So we're for 2021, that's going to be a big focus of ours. And for me personally, I'm going to get that script, the first draft of the script finished, so we can get some just homegrown content going, and also create that space and that hub for content creators all around the Caribbean.
Wow. And guys, please send in your questions, and if you know where to find Kimala too, so you can ask her questions. We'll answer your questions.
But I do want to highlight some of the comments though, because the entire team is proud to have such an amazing leader. You get to hear it from the people that work with her all the time.
Yes.
Tash says Kimala's gift is definitely seeing talent in others. They don't even see themselves, and nurturing it in whatever way possible. So you see that is people that work with her on a daily basis, and see me and live with me is two different things. So people that operate with her every single day, you know it's true them talking, right?
No, I have a great team, and I give God thanks every single day for just a young, energized, driven, hardworking team that is called the Lab.
Yeah.
Aww.
You know, before you go though, Kimala, we did have just one thing I would love to hear. What would you tell your 20-year-old self? This is now you're a little over 20, you're 20 plus the customs duty self now. So Kimala just turned
20 squared.
20 squared. No, as I said, don't worry. Don't worry about a thing. I mean, every little thing is gonna be all right. That Liam loves that
That's
song.
Liam's song.
Yes.
Liam's song, and I mean, I remember when we were about to IPO, because that's a very nervous. When you call, I mean, there's excitement, and then there's like, suppose nobody don't buy the shares, suppose because it.
Weren't you in the middle of that when we were at the ClickFunnels event?
Yes.
Listen, Kimala, we shared a room, and Kimala is literally sleeping with her laptop in her lap. The phone is by her hair. But she's like, and then she wakes up as if she wasn't sleeping, and she's like,
yeah.
No, but the thing about it is, as dropping Liam to school one morning, and that's where we learned the song, and then I remember Daddy sending me back a voice note, like doing his version of it about something about the IPO, and as I said, I think a lot of times, we worry, and I mean, it really is a slap in the face to our faith, really.
yes.
And I mean, I am. I can worry, but even in the same breath, I kind of have to snap out of it and say, everything going to be all right, man. And I think one of the things that experience teaches you is that it works out in the end.
Yes.
And, if you hear everybody talk about in terms of, COVID and perspective and context, that, at the end of the day, you're looking and you're like, well, what really matters? Like, is that really that big of a deal if that doesn't happen? And if it doesn't happen, then maybe it wasn't supposed to happen. And,
Right.
Exactly. It wasn't meant to be.
It definitely.
We have one more question from Amanda.
Who is actually your 18-year-old self? Introduced to Amanda Wiley, an aspiring director, producer extraordinaire. And she's actually your 18-year-old self. You have to.
We need to meet Amanda.
Can you see your question? How do you know when it's the right time to say yes and say no to yourself and or others? Whoa.
It's a great question.
That's a very, very, very good question, and I think we know. I think sometimes we try to talk ourselves out of it. So for me, I am very big on being truthful to what I want, what is going to put me out. So say for instance, someone says, they want to go down to the country or somewhere, or they want to do something that I am not necessarily really interested in, and I think that it may make me a little uncomfortable, or I just won't have fun, and then I'm going to be that person that's going to be all miserable, and I'm not going to say yes to it. And I mean, in that moment, the person may be like, no, man, just come. Or I have never really yielded to peer pressure. I don't believe in that. So I stay true to, who I am and what I want to do. Now, I recognize that there are some times that the person may need you. And then that's a different thing, because you don't want to be selfish. But you have to be aware of why is it that you're doing it.
Yeah.
When you're asking the questions, and sometimes saying that yes, why would you not say yes to it? Are you saying no out of fear? then maybe you do need to say yes, right?
Yeah.
And you have to ask yourself those series of questions. Or am I saying yes just because I don't want to offend the person, but I am going to be inconvenienced? Then you need to say no. So there are some questions about the why. Do I want this? Is this good for me? Why would I say yes to this, or why would I say no to this? And then that kind of helps you, because you never really know, but there's something in your gut that kind of guides you. And when people say I should have followed my mind, because someone's telling you, follow your mind. And if it is I think that, what was the book that you had read, Naomi? The Year of Yes.
Yes.
That's a good approach to take when it has to do with fear. So maybe you're saying no because I don't think I'm ready for it, or I'm not there yet, or I can't afford it, or whatever. But sometimes that's exactly when you need to say yes.
Yeah.
Sabrina is watching from the United Kingdom, far, far away. Enjoy this man.
What time is it?
Sabrina!
It is late.
Very. So thank you, Kimala. A wonderful presentation full of passion and great advice.
Thank you.
So much advice.
I mean, come on, a great session. It was truly a masterclass. The comments are just coming in. Thank you so much.
I love to talk, right? I will go on.
We love that you love to talk.
Except when she's watching. She's afraid to talk because she knows that we load her up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching. I message you guys privately.
Yes. Yes. She's one of the ones that watches it on the big screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
but
thank you so
Kimala,
much.
I'm really happy that you accepted our invitation to be our first guest.
Catherine
messaged me. I was like, really? Like, how am I going to tell you? Catherine, no. Rochelle. Like,
everybody doesn't need to know that you didn't have a choice. But we could not have started this season in a better way. This was really, it was very inspiring, very motivational. I know a lot of people that joined in today have not heard your story or your journey. Some of those stories I heard for the first time today as well. And you continue to just inspire others, and you're inspiring a whole other generation as well. So we're really, really grateful. I'm really happy you were able to come on.
Thank you. And I'm here. As I said, guys, make sure to go to the Becoming CEO page, because I'm going to be dropping some gems.
And we're here for it.
We're here for it.
Yes. And we're living life urgently.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That was like the takeaway.
Yeah.
With urgency.
Yes.
So thank you, Kimala. Hug up Liam for us.
Guys, thank you so much for joining. And just a reminder, we're having our awesome first virtual workshop of the year on January 23rd. So it is going to be about reclaiming your 2020 and emerging into 2021. More details to come. Ensure that you follow us on @ReadyToEmerge on Instagram, or subscribe to our newsletter so that you can be in the know. It is a free virtual workshop. So
no. Stop saying that. It is courtesy of Sagicor. It is not free. It is courtesy of Sagicor. So it's
actually 100% discounted. As
exactly. Thank you. We didn't learn anything
discounted
from Kimala today.
So guys,
courtesy of Sagicor.
You can pre-register from now. And we'll be announcing more details within this week, going into next week. But we're really excited to share that day with you as we all try to just get back our lives from 2020 and step forward into 2021.
And I'm not sure if you mentioned earlier, but one of our Emerge crew who has been with us through a lot, Janice Allen, just to extend our condolences. I actually rushed up from Montego Bay,
And today, when I was just down there with her and her mother, it was just a reminder of family love, and having a great father. And her mother said just the most amazing thing that I just could not stop thinking about. She's like, my best friend is gone. And I said, wow, when you can be married, because they've been married for like 50 years. And she's like my best friend. So when Kimala talked about personalizing love, it just all came back to me. So to the amazing Allen family, we have lost a stalwart, Glover Allen, Uncle Glover, but our thoughts and prayers are with you and with Auntie Winnie. We love you guys a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again next week, Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Same time, same place. Wednesday, 8 o'clock on our Facebook or our YouTube channel, Ready to Emerge. Have a great rest of your week.
Bye, guys. Thank you so